So welcome back to the Discovery series and today 4 of part 3. Now over the last few days we've been looking at potential obstacles when it comes to noting or naming the different types of mental states. And I think for many people, although intellectualizing the process can be a problem, although getting so caught up in the emotion that you don't actually see it for what it is can also be a problem. I think one of the most common obstacles is identifying with the emotion. So this takes a little time to be able to step away from it and identify it, to name it in a slightly more spacious way. So we're so used to thinking about the feelings in terms of my feelings. I feel like this. She feels like that. He feels like that. It's a very personal thing, and that's not to negate the feeling or to suggest that we don't experience the feeling. Of course we do. But in identifying so strongly with the feeling, we actually create a stronger attachment to that feeling. And potentially that can cause us a great deal of discomfort. And it's not just with negative feelings as well, or so-called negative feelings. It's also with happy feelings, strangely enough. When we become very attached to happy feelings, then in amongst that is always a certain amount of fear that perhaps we might lose the happiness and that an unpleasant feeling might come along. So if we can begin to identify a little less with the mental state or emotion and see it simply as this passing feeling, thought, phenomena, then we begin to loosen our grasp a little bit. It feels as though things flow more easily. So just watch out as you're doing the exercise to make sure that you're not thinking about the feeling or the mental state in terms of, I feel like this. Because that ultimately will really hinder actually the progress in understanding the mind for what it is. So we'll begin, as always, just by taking a moment or two to get comfortable. Eyes open. As you take a couple of nice big deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with the next out breath, just gently closing the eyes as you begin to inhabit those physical senses, becoming more aware of the sensation of touch. More aware of the sensation of sound. And then as you bring the attention back to the body, becoming more aware of the physical sensations within the body, noticing how the body feels right now. And then just gently scanning down from the top of the head all the way down to the toes. Remembering to focus on the smaller parts of the body as well as the larger parts, and to notice whether there are any particular areas in the body which draw you in any way. And at the same time, as you become more aware of those physical sensations, just starting to notice the underlying mood, so the emotional tone of the mind right now. As always, asking yourself why you're doing what you're doing. Perhaps even incorporating the next aspect, this idea that it could potentially impact others into that motivation. So the motivation begins to become a little broader, perhaps. Looking beyond what we get out of it ourselves. And as always, knowing that there's nothing to do. That this is one of those rare moments in life when we don't have to try, or we don't have to apply a lot of effort. Instead, we get to let go of the reins, to step back and to just watch the mind and the body unwind. So with that in mind, just bringing the attention now to the breath, to that feeling of the breath in the body, a rising and falling sensation. Remembering that as you note today, as you name those mental states, remembering not to get caught up in thinking about them as your own. So it's not, I feel like this. It's simply noting the feeling objectively, seeing it clearly as something separate from oneself, even if that's something that we still experience very intently, in the sense that it comes and it goes, in the sense that it's not permanent. In that way, we can create that space and simply name it objectively for what it is. So you can just continue in the normal way now. And just letting go of any focus at all now. So if the mind wants to think, you can let it think now. And then just bringing the attention back to the body, back to those physical points of contact. Noticing any sounds, any smells, any lingering tastes. Just re-engaging those physical senses. And just slowly open your eyes, taking just a moment to refocus. And just being clear about your intention to carry that awareness with you today, carrying it to your next activity. And from there to the next activity, whatever that is, carrying with you that sense of calm, the sense of clarity that you have right now. But for now, you can sit back. Well done for completing day 4. And as you sit there just enjoying having taken a bit of time out of your day, just something to look out for in the same way as we did during the exercise today. As you go through the rest of the day, just noticing how often you use that phrase in the mind, I feel like this. Whether it's externally talking to someone else, or whether it's a story that plays over and over in the mind. It might be, I feel really happy, I feel really excited about something. Or it might be, I feel really worried, or I feel really sad about something. But if you do catch yourself thinking in that way, if you can, in that moment, if you're able to, see what it's like to just step back from it and go, oh, hang on, no, that's sadness. Or, that's happiness. And just to note it, to name it for what it is, rather than identifying quite so strongly with it and actually making it your own in that way. And as always, remember, take the time if you can to notice the people around you, their emotions, their mental states, because the more you're able to do that, the more you'll start to become familiar with what's going on in your own mind as well. But we'll look a little bit more at that tomorrow. But I'll leave it there for now and look forward to seeing you